Mike Pachelli here. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this video lesson. I'm going to talk about I Saw Her Standing There by the Beatles, which was recorded on February 11th, 1963. Got the lights down low. Usually have some studio light coming in, but it's getting real dark, so it may get very dark in here, but you're not here for the lighting. The song was recorded during their all-day session for the Please Please Me album, and it's a potboiler written mainly by Paul McCartney. Paul began writing it in 1962. After a gig, he was on the way to Rory Storm's house, and Paul at that time was dating Rory Storm's sister, Iris Caldwell, who was 17. So that may have been the initial impetus for the song. Later on, a couple months later, Paul was dating a girl named Celia Mortimer, and they hitchhiked to London. And Paul was still working on the song, and he asked Celia, he said, what rhymes with dance through the night? And she came up with, and we held each other tight. So Celia gets a little writing credit, apparently. Paul finished the song with John at 24th Road, his parents' house, and they were calling the song 17 for the longest time. But when John heard the line, initially it was, well, she was just 17, she'd never been a beauty queen. And John was like, you're joking about that, right? So they changed it to, and you know what I mean. And it's kind of a little, sexual innuendo that they got in about perhaps dating an underaged girl. The bass line, that cool bass line in the song was Nick from Chuck Berry's I'm Talking About You. The main line came from the Coasters' Youngblood. The line goes, I saw her standing on the corner. It's kind of where Paul got the idea for that. And rhythmically, I'll never dance with another since I saw her standing there, comes from I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in. So it's kind of cool. It shows you that you could take your favorite song or a popular song and rework it, and maybe you'll have a #1 hit. Okay, it's the first song they did with the falsetto oohs, and they certainly used that a lot to their advantage, shaking their heads and driving the girls potty. For the recording, John played his 58 325, and George played a 1957 duo jet. They sang and they played the song live, and they knew the song quite well. So the first take was actually perfect. They tried to do take number 2, but they kept flubbing the lyrics. One would sing "She Wouldn't Dance" while the other was singing "I'll Never Dance," stuff like that. And then they did a take 3, which sometimes they used to just like do parts. And for take 3, they just did the ending, where they repeat the ending 3 times. And then that was, in the can, because they hadn't done it on the first take. They got to 9 takes. And take 9 is where Paul goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was spliced onto take 1, which they eventually used. So that was an edit. And they also edited from take 3, those 3 parts onto take 1, and that's the edits. They did some overdubs, hand claps, too. And, it was a true representation of the beat music craze in the UK back then. Let's see, Capitol released it the day after Christmas on 1963, so December 26, 1963. And it was the B-side of I Want to Hold Your Hand. And the Beatles had, not very few artists, except maybe Elvis, were charting, had on their 45s, had the A and B side charting. And I think I Saw Her Standing There went up to number 14, so quite an achievement. Anyhow, that's some of the backstory, so let's get started. John is rocking the living daylights out of I Saw Her Standing There. He's playing his 50s 325 Rick. I've got this reissue that stays in tune for about, 3 minutes, so thank goodness the songs are short. And I've got pyramid flat wounds on it, a lot like he did, but you can tell his strings were very dead on this recording because they had been playing, all the time. And so he's in the studio kind of with dead strings. But the basic part, well, you'll need these chords. You'll need an E7 like this. You'll need an A7, a B7. You'll need an A minor, kind of A minor over E, like this. And you also need some first position chords. You'll need a regular E and an E7. You'll need an A down here and an A minor. And those are all the chords, and some fifths I'll get to in a minute. So the basic rhythm is like, if you count it strictly, and remember, John, they're always swinging. This band had a lot of swing, so it's not a strict eighth note thing, but the basic rhythm happens on 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and, you know, so the basic chug along of the rhythm is 1, 2, 1, right? 1, 2. But John does this little pickup thing where he plays, like, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and on the low string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Got that? So that's the basic rhythm. He varies from it a little bit here and there, but for the most part, that's what he's doing. And when you see him live, he plays those and 4 ands on the low string, almost always just downstrokes, you know. It's kind of easier if you use up and down strokes, really, if you go like, you know, get the and 4 and coming up off of the chord. But if you want to play like John, John attacks the guitar, so it's always. But it might be easier to swing it like this. And in order to get it a little dead, you can kind of sort of mute it with your thumb. If you keep your thumb around, just kind of so that it doesn't ring out too much. But that's basic rhythm, and he goes through the chords. So it's E. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'll go slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. E. A. E. E. B7. E7, A7, A minor, E, B, E. So at the beginning they just pound, John just pounds on the E7 for 4 measures. But that's the basic rhythm, you know, and it's just really fun to do and not that easy. Good wrist workout, you know. Just 17. Oh yeah, the very, very first time, there's 2 little variations. So like, you know, there's a little joke almost with she was just 17 and you know what I mean. And it's my just guesstimation that when they did this live, you know, John was looking over at Paul at that little line, because he doesn't play too strict the very first time. On the second, he's like, she was just 17. He does a little one of those, and on the A7s too, and the A minor, like let's see. Let me get to it. See. Just, the way she looked. Just the very first time, kind of like, and then the rest of the time he's very strict with it. And I mean he sometimes just plays 2. Sometimes he misses and goes, you know, let's see, you know. But for the most part, he's swinging that. All right, now on the middle part. He's playing fifths, you know, rock and roll fifths, like an A fifth thing, root fifth, and he's rocking it, you know. Well, my, and again, all downstrokes, just attack the guitar. Well, my, the B, whoa, just a hellacious part. Okay, during George's solo, there's one little difference, maybe two. First of all, they don't go to the A as fast. They stay on E for 4 measures. And when he gets to the B, instead of like rocking the B, he plays this line. He goes. It's like a B root 5th, 3rd. And it's almost because I think he knew it really goes with George's solo. So George must have played kind of the same solo repeatedly, and John knew that was happening. So let me just play the John's part during the solo. So it'd be. See, right. So now, since he's down here, he plays his E7 here. Kind of still, but and then he strums the A. You can hear the open A minor. Back up to it. Back to that. The only other difference would be at the very ending where they repeat, saw her standing there 3 times. He's playing like, he's going to go down to the first position again. How do I get into it? Oh yeah, that right there. So, how could I? Then he goes down. When I saw her there, well, since I'm there, he's gonna rock on the A, the very last line. Saw her standing there. All right. So when George and Paul go, John just plays a regular E7 here, and then John plays a straight E chord for the last chord. Well, the Rick almost stayed in tune. And those are all the parts you need to play I Saw Her Standing There like John Lennon. The Beatles had been playing the song for quite a while in their live act, so George was quite used to it, and he's being the quintessential lead guitar player on it. John's driving rhythm is just making the song, move forward. And George is just showing so much restraint and taste. And he lays back and just plays little fills here and there during the ensemble parts. So we'll talk about that first. The very first lick that he plays is like if you play a D7 here, like a D7 form, just move it up 2 frets. And it's that sound. And you really got to get this part of it hard and bright. So you let your hands down and play the first thing, and then play DB. Then you lift up your first finger and pound or hammer on from the B to the D. So, and then strum, and then slur down. And he just barely hits this last E, slightly, so it's. Now sometimes when you see him play live, he kind of slides into it, like that. But for the most part on the record, that's how I just played it. Now during the verses, he's laying out and again letting John just drive the band, and he's playing very tastefully. So the song says she was just E, and he plays a little line like that. I'm not going to go through every single line because I have the charts and tabs available to download at MikePachelli.com if you want it, but I'll just talk about them a little bit. So verse starts, she was just 7, and let's see, and he plays. Way beyond. Then this signature lick. And then it's E. Now, they stay on E, but Paul goes up to a G sharp on the bass, and George mimics it, and he plays this E7 with the G sharp on the bass. So, I'll never, to an A7, to a minor, and Paul's going up to a C, and George plays a chord like this for his A minor. And then back to E, but this time George plays, and then back to the intro list. So if I were to play the first verse for you, it would sound like this. Let's see here. Way beyond. I'll get it exactly right at the end when I do the performance part, but that's pretty much close to how he played the first verse. And the second verse he plays a little different. He goes into the A, then the same lick to the E. They hit the B7. He goes like, right, and then he's just messing around with the chords. Let's see. Let's see. I got lost. Let's see. So, yeah. Let me try to play that second verse a little better. So, see, right. That was closer. All right, now during the middle, it's not a middle 8, it's actually 10 bars, so it's a middle 10. He plays a little rock lick, like the, right? So it's just 5th string open, hammer sort of sliding up to the 4th fret, and then 3, 4. So it's like this. 4 times, and then, that classic riff. And then he's really cool. On the A chord, you just kind of bar the 7th fret and then slur into the 3rd and the 5th of an A chord. And hit a low 8 on the bottom. And then, a little more messing around with the chords. See, it goes this. He goes. Right there, I'll never dance. He injects a little 6 chord thing. And then very lightly you can hear him playing this A7. Very strum lightly. To an A minor. George is just barely playing it. Right? And then, there you go. Then the solo happens. I'll talk about that in a minute. Last verse is even a little less. After the solo, he's just kind of playing, messing around with the chords. You can just lightly arpeggiating. And then, on this one he goes. And then, da-da. And then 3 times. Saw her be. Plays that lick. And then he plays his last line. And he hits he goes E, G sharp, B, open strings, and ends on a E9. So, it's just so good. All right, now I'll talk about the solo. George had played this solo many times live, so you could tell he kind of had it worked out. But he also did it live when they were recording it, and he did a great job. Let me play it for you one time. It goes like this. into. Just so great. I guess let me do it really slow. And again, there's charts and tabs if you want to get it perfectly, but I'll play it very slow for you. This might be helpful. Let's see here. Couple of noteworthy things is, you know, it's starting on E7 and he starts on the flat 5. Okay. Get that little trill thing. There it is. And again, a little hammer on. All right, normal. Nice little. I love that. The E7. And then it's like an E minor. Little double stops up on the 10th fret. No. Right. Might help if I get a close up of it. Here's a close up. So that's George's solo. And remember, he played it differently every time they did the song live, so learn it George's way and then add your own personality. Okay, for fun, I've put the song together once again and you can use it for a reference, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4!
Well, she was just 17. Oh, you know what I mean. And the way she looked was way beyond command. So how could I dance with another? Oh, when I saw her standing there. Well, she looked at me, and I could see that
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that. It was certainly fun for me to do. So if you'd like to drop me a line, do so at mikepachelli.com. Please subscribe to this channel. And remember, when you're playing these kind of songs, just have fun doing it, because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. So I'm Mike Pachelli. Until next time, thanks for hanging out with me.